FX takes you behind the scenes of Nip Tuck.
The show's definitely had an impact on my view of plastic surgery. It's not just a black and white issue.
I'm really surprised that having worked on this show, it hasn't actually changed my view on plastic surgery. My view's the same as when we started, which would be pretty 50-50.
My views on plastic surgery have changed. I was very unaware that plastic surgery really is about healing people who need actual things to be healed.
I probably would have had a little prejudice, without meaning to, a few years ago if somebody told me they'd had some work done, which I wouldn't have automatically now.
I want to see how I look when I get old. I find it fascinating. I mean, you look at somebody like Vanessa, who looks so fantastic, and yet you can see the experience in her face, and it's quite beautiful. So I look forward to seeing how the show has destroyed my looks in 5 years.
Sort of black comedy, and right into something that's very moving and tragic, and then right out of that into something that's almost farcical. It's the fact that the show has such a range is what's hard.
The toughest scenes to film are not the surgeries. When they go through an emotional pain, that's much more difficult.
The most difficult scenes we do are the scenes with emotional violence in them, such as the breakup of the marriage, the disciplining of the children. Those take the most time, they're the most difficult to write, they're the most emotional to write, and they have to be, subtle and yet very strong.
A 6 o'clock call, but then Monday, ironically, we'll keep to about a 12-hour day. Friday, we might work 17, 18 hours. I mean, it's been that crazy.
It's always fun on Nip Tuck. We have a very good quality of life here. Everybody gets along great. We have a great crew, and so it's a very pleasant working here.
So a typical day on the set is early call time, hair and makeup, rehearsal, shooting, and we can be here, I'd say, 12 to 14 hours is pretty average.
And everybody's really sort of close and chummy, and we have a great time, and we fight like a family, and we make up like a family. And to me, it's sort of a fascinating thing that's very sort of hard to duplicate.
It's rarely hard, and what I mean by that is I can usually fall asleep at night being pretty damn grateful that I get to call this my job.
All new episodes Tuesday.
The carver is going to be somebody that we don't think they're going to be. I mean, I know that everybody has their rumors about who the carver is going to be, but if you know Ryan at all, which I know that you do, he likes to surprise us all.
I don't know who the carver is. It could be anybody. I hope it's me. I'd like to be the carver.
Feels like no one knows yet, and it's going to evolve. I'm not sure who it is, because these writers are very cagey.
I think little Annie's the carver. I think it is, because she's the one we've seen the least of throughout the entire course of the show. I think little Annie is the carver.
None of us know who the carver is.
I have no idea. I'm just really hoping it's not me. I really don't want to be the carver.
Well, everybody wants to know who the carver is, and the only person who really knows is me, and I'll never tell. No amount of bribery can get it out of me.
When in the LA Times they're talking about something that's not related to our show, but they use the phrase Nip Tuck to talk about it, I think is really subtly Ryan's greatest victory, because it has gotten out there.
When I first pitched the show, it was very important to me not to have the dreaded ampersand, because to me, I thought that seemed like a comedy. I thought it was like, Nip and Tuck to me would seem like a sitcom about he's Nipperson and he's Tuckerman. And here they are solving crimes and operating on faces, and I wanted it to be more graphic and dramatic. So I was very adamant that slash be a scalpel, and it seemed to work. And now you do see it used everywhere, which I think is quite hilarious, and people bring in the writer's room the clipping of the week that has it in the headline, so we're all quite proud of that and think it's funny. Runner, I sort of my job is to protect the overall tone and integrity of the show, and I'm very hands-on. I sort of like to choose every costume and every lampshade, which I do with great collaborators on the show. But for me, the great thing about doing a television show like this that works, that is successful and was successful right out of the box, is that you do become joined in sort of this adventure together, and you're like a family.
I love the fact that Ryan's made a show, and it's not just about how great it looks afterwards or how bad it looks afterwards. It is about, what happens behind the closed doors.
I think there's a moral of the story to Nip Tuck for sure. You can't watch it just on the surface. You've got to read in between the lines of Nip Tuck. Then that's when I think people will understand.
And that's been fascinating, to create a slice of Americana that has its own mythology, and I've really enjoyed that.
Set decorator on Nip Tuck. It's basically, I'm an interior designer, but for the sets. The look of Nip Tuck sets have a very austere quality to them. They're very minimal and cold and not to distract from the characters, but also enhancing who the characters are. For the third season of Nip Tuck, our first permanent set is a spa that is a recovery spa for plastic surgery patients. It was designed and conceived early in the season. However, it really took almost 7 episodes till it was completed. It is a huge semicircle with tons of drapery and water elements and crystal chandeliers and velvet upholstered pieces and Kelly green lacquer tabletops, and it's quite something.
Is an exploration of the reasons why we as a culture hate ourselves and will never be content.
Nip Tuck is, first and foremost, I think, a voyeuristic drama series.
Nip Tuck is a cross between Frankenstein and porn.
Nip Tuck is a phenomenon.
Nip Tuck, to me, is a story that is primarily about flaws.
Nip Tuck is a tragic void. That's the way I look at it. Nip Tuck to me is very Nip Tuck.
Nip Tuck is a show that's all about the externals that we present to the world and then the internal behind that.
It's a Golden Globe winning drama. First season was Can This Business Be Saved? The second season was Can This Family Be Saved? And I think that this year the show seems so big and operatic and explosive that it's sort of the melding of both of those things. It's about family, it's about the business, it's about outside forces. We've learned that the family cannot be saved, so that these people have to save themselves. I think that's what the season 3 is about.
What are you doing?
Sorry, Christian, I can't do this anymore.
We can talk about it tomorrow.
It's not going to be it tomorrow for us.
What's that supposed to mean?
Most seasons, you work maybe 3 months of prep on a series before you're shooting. This year, we've had 9 months of prep, and we've been working during those 9 months, not only on the scripts, but on the surgeries and on the locations. So I think we've had a lot more time to prepare, and as a result, I think the show has grown tremendously.